Hello everyone, in this video I would talk about worksheet 1. As the first example, we would sketch the graph and find the domain and range of each function. So in order to draw a line, because this one here is a line, in order to draw a line, you can either choose two different points or you can use y-intercept and the slope. So I would choose y-intercept here, which is -1, and slope is 2, which is the same as 2 over 1, and it is rise over run. And since both of them are positive, so we have 2 units to the top, 1 unit to the right. I would start from -1, which is the y-intercept, 2 units to the top, top, which is here, and 1 unit to the right, which is here, 2 units to the top. Let me erase all these. Okay, from here, 2 units to the top and 1 unit to the right. So this is the line, and it should be a straight line. Next one is a parabola. And we can plug in some points like 0, and we would get 0, which is this one, 1, and the answer is 1. So this is here. -1, and the answer is 1 because 1 squared is +1, and this is the graph. And it says about the domain and the range. Following the graph for the part A, domain is all real numbers because it will cover all real numbers from left to right. And for range, from the bottom to the top, it would cover the whole y-axis. So the range is -infinity to infinity. For part B, when we scan the graph from left to right, we would see that it will accept or cover all numbers. So D here is -infinity and infinity. But if we plug in all these numbers, so the answer is just positive ones. R is +1, 0, and infinity, and 0 is included because we can see that we have 0 as the answer here. Okay, let's do the second one. Number 1, 2 is here. Okay, so for part 2 or question number 2, it says if x is x² -1, find the amount of f of 3. So we would plug for 3 for x. So it would be 3 squared -1, which is 9 -1, which is 8. F of y, it means that you would put y instead of every x that you see. So it is y² -1. And the next one, f of x plus t, same idea. You would put x plus t instead of every x that you see. So it is x plus t squared -1. Now, you should find the answer or the expansion of x plus t squared. You have two options. Option 1 is foiling, x plus t times x plus t, because square means times itself. And we would use foiling. So x times x is x squared, x times t is t times x or x times t, it doesn't matter. It is multiplication and you can change the position. Next one is tx and then t squared. And we can simplify or combine these as 2 times t times x and plus t squared. Or option 2, you can memorize the formula that we have, x plus t squared. This formula says you would square the first one, you would square the second one, and between these two, you would write 2 times x times t, which is 2 times the first one times the second one. Maybe you prefer this one. It all depends on you. Either way, the answer of the first one, the square part, is this, and minus 1 is the answer because we cannot simplify anymore. Let's do number 3 here. For number 3, it says f of x equals 2x squared minus 5x plus 1. And the question asks about finding this quotient. So first of all, we would find what f of a plus h is and what f of a is. So f of a would be 2a squared minus 5a plus 1. Instead of each x, I would write a. F of a plus h. With the same idea, I would write a plus h instead of every x that I see. It would be 2 times a plus h squared minus 5x plus, not x. Instead of x, you write a plus h plus 1. And now, again, you have two options to find a plus h squared. You can try both of them, and you would see the answer is square of the first one, 2 times the first one, the second one, and square of the second one. For this part, we would use distribution. So 5 times a and 5 times h, and also we have a negative. So 5 times a minus 5 times h plus 1. Now I want to rewrite this quotient. What is f of a plus h? Is this here? Also, I can distribute 2. So it would be 2 times a squared plus 4 times a times h plus 2h squared minus 5a minus 5h plus 1. And I would rewrite the whole thing here for a plus h. So 2a squared plus 4 times a times h plus 2h squared minus 5a minus 5h plus 1. And next part is for f of a. I have a negative because of this negative here. And for f of a, I would write 2a squared minus 5a plus 1 instead of parentheses, because that negative here, the red one, is for the whole thing over h. Now I can apply this negative to all of them. So I would rewrite the whole thing here. It would be 2a squared plus 4ah plus 2h squared minus 5a minus 5h plus 1 minus 2a squared plus 5a, because we have two negatives, and then minus 1 over h. Now, I would check if I can simplify something. Yes, we can simplify positive 2a squared with 2a squared, which is negative. These will cancel each other out. And then I have negative 5 times a and positive 5 times a. Also, I have plus 1, negative 1, so they all cancel each other. The next step, h is here, and we would have 4 times ah plus 2h squared minus 5h. And since I have h at the bottom, I would like to factor h. For the first part, when you factor out h, you would get 4 times a. Second term, when you factor out h, you would get 2 times h and then 5 over h. Now you can simplify these two, and the answer is 4 times a plus 2h minus 5. Okay, so the last, no, not the last one. Number 4. It is about finding the domain of each function. It depends on the function, and then depending on the function, you would have different rules or different concepts for domain. For the first one, since it is about the square root of something, and we know that whenever we have negative under this square root or any even root, the expression under the radical should be positive. So we would solve it for whenever inside the radical is positive. So minus 2 both sides in order to solve it, and it will be more than negative 2. It means you can keep it as it is, or you can write it as negative 2 and infinity as interval form. Or you can use number line, and if it is negative 2, it will be open circle here because we don't have negative 2 on the right side of that. For part B, a quotient is defined whenever the denominator is not 0. So I would consider x squared minus x cannot be 0. We would solve it as equal, but we would keep the not equal sign. I can factor out x. It will be x minus 1 when I factor out x, not equal to 0. So we have two options. Either the first one is not 0 or the second one is not 0. So x cannot be 0. And if you add 1 both sides, you would get x is not 1. So we can accept all numbers here for function g, but not 0 and 1. We can write it as all real numbers, all x, that x is not 0 and x is not 1. Or maybe you would use intervals. If you want to use intervals, you would exclude 0 and 1. So it will be negative infinity to 0, but not 0, union 0 and 1, but not 1, union 1 and infinity. Or if you want to use number line, if it is 0 and if it is 1, you would exclude these two numbers and you would have all other numbers. These are the ways that you can write the domain. Number 5 is about sketching the graph of absolute value function. So for this one, we have different answers or different solutions, because whenever x is positive, the answer is positive or the same as the input. But whenever it is negative, the answer is the opposite of the input. So I can rewrite these as two options. Option 1, whenever x is positive or equal to 0, what you get as the output is exactly the same as input. If you plug in 3, you would get 3 as the answer. If you plug in square root of 2, the answer is square root of 2 because it is positive. But whenever x is negative, what you get as the answer is the opposite of the input. If you plug in negative 2, the answer is 2, because 2 is the opposite of negative 2. So we have a piecewise function here. For drawing a piecewise function, we would have two different lines. First one is here, and the second one is here. It means that I would draw y equals x for all x that are positive or 0, and also I would draw negative x for all x that are negative. So y equals x. I can find 2 points, or I can use slope and intercept. If you want to choose intercept in here, keep in mind that it is exactly plus 0. 1 times x plus 0. And the other one is negative 1 plus 0. So we used y-intercept for the first question. I would like to find points here that we would have both methods. So in here, I would like to plug in 0 because I have 0, I have equal sign here, and the answer is 0. If I plug in 2, the answer is 2. So I would connect these points, 2 and 2, 0 and 0, and this is the line. The line is actually like this, but since I have this restriction here, and it is about positive part of x, so I cannot draw all of that. I would only draw the positive part. So next one is about y equals negative x. I choose negative inputs, like negative 2, like negative 1. What is the output here? When you plug in negative 2, it would be opposite of negative 2, which is positive 2. And if you plug in negative 1, it would be opposite of negative 1, which is 1. So I have 2 points, negative 2 and 2, which is here, negative 1 and 1, which is here. So it should be a straight line. So this is the graph of absolute value.